In the summer of 1944, Allied forces were grinding their way across Europe, but that rapid advance came at a steep cost. Their manpower was dangerously stretched. This created a terrifying strategic vulnerability. Whenever commanders repositioned real divisions for an attack, they occasionally left behind massive, 75-mile defensive gaps in the lines. If German forces discovered those empty stretches, they could punch right through and flank the Allied advance. The military needed a way to hold those boundaries, but they didn't have 30,000 spare men to do it. Instead, they authorized a radical alternative. If they couldn't put a real army in that gap, they had to make the Germans see one anyway. To pull this off, the U.S. Army deployed a highly classified top-secret unit composed of just 1,100 men, the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. They didn't draft traditional infantrymen for this mission. Instead, they recruited from places like the Pratt Institute and Yale, bringing in civilian art students, audio engineers, and even future fashion designers like Bill Blass. These creatives arrived near the front lines without heavy artillery. Their objective was to use paint, sound, and rubber to outsmart the German war machine. The foundation of this bluff relied on physical staging, engineered primarily by the 603rd Camouflage Battalion. As we can see in this photograph of an inflatable dummy tank placed behind a dirt embankment, their primary tool was a fleet of rubber vehicles. From a distance, or from the viewpoint of an aerial reconnaissance plane, these inflated props mirrored the camouflage and shape of real, heavily armored Sherman tanks and artillery pieces. But rubber alone doesn't fool an intelligence officer. The 603rd deployed under the cover of night, painstakingly dressing the set. They manually stamped and dragged heavy synthetic treads through the mud to forge realistic tank tracks leading right up to the dummies. They finished the stagecraft by painting fake unit insignias on their own vehicles and lighting dozens of fake campfires. They hung laundry and created the exact footprint of a living military encampment. A visual illusion, however perfect, is completely static. Without the chaotic, mechanical hum of 30,000 men and their machines, the dead silence of the forest would eventually betray them to German scouts. To solve that silence, the 3132nd Signal Service Company introduced sonic deception. They used state-of-the-art Hollywood audio techniques to mix and layer recorded sounds of real troop marches, clanking gears and revving engines. To deliver this audio, they mounted powerful speakers onto half-tracks. These mobile soundboards were positioned right along the contested front lines. Once the sun went down, they cranked the volume, pushing the illusion of a massive army deep into German-held territory, carrying the noise up to 15 miles away. The final piece of the trap was radio deception, executed by the 244th Signal Company to exploit the enemy's intelligence network. These spoof operators hacked the enemy's expectations. They flawlessly mimicked the unique Morse code rhythms of specific Allied radio operators, broadcasting fake encrypted traffic and casual radio chatter to feed German eavesdroppers exactly what they wanted to hear. This elaborate theater carried immense physical risk. To sell the deception, the unit often operated within a few hundred yards of heavily armed German positions. They drew real artillery fire, and despite being mostly unarmed, they suffered dozens of casualties. By synchronizing the fake tanks, the Hollywood audio, and the spoofed radio signals, they built an impenetrable sensory trap. German commanders couldn't verify reality because their scouts, their microphones, and their radio intercepts all confirmed the exact same lie. In March 1945, Allied forces prepared to push across the Rhine River. Look at this image showing heavy military trucks and artillery crowding onto a pontoon bridge. It was a massive logistical choke point, completely exposed to enemy fire. To draw German fire away from this vulnerable crossing, the Ghost Army deployed every tactic. They set up south of the actual site and simulated a massive buildup of 2 full divisions. The bait worked flawlessly. German forces diverted their defenses south to intercept the Phantom Army. As a result, the real Allied crossing proceeded smoothly and succeeded with minimal resistance. The flawless execution of this bluff created a historical irony. The U.S. military realized the value of this tactic and locked the files away. The men of the Ghost Army went home in silence, their existence classified for over 50 years, until the records were unsealed in 1996. Looking through those unsealed records reveals the true weight of their operations. Analysts estimate their coordinated illusions saved between 15 and 30,000 American lives. Decades after the war, they finally received the recognition they were long denied. In 2024, surviving members and their representatives were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor in the United States. The Ghost Army proved that even inside the brutal machinery of industrial warfare, raw firepower isn't the only way to win. By turning the enemy's own intelligence gathering against them, they showed that the human mind's capacity for creativity is the ultimate tactical advantage.